Okay, I'm back. I want to talk to you guys about La Anima Sola and Muertos and stuff like that for people that play with this stuff. Um, it's a thin line. My grandmother on my father's side actually stopped practicing anything, and she used to be able to look into the cups of water and she could read you, and it was fucking incredible. And she stopped. She's still alive today, thank God. But she trató de montar un muerto, and she almost lost her mind. She almost went crazy. When she tells me stories, she says that she would sit and she could feel him sit right beside her, and she was going crazy. And she said at the moment it happened, porque ella era tremenda. I mean, she was tremenda espiritista in Cuba, and my dad gets it from her. Uh, Long story short, she ended up in the hospital, and they had to have tremendo. I don't know if it was a babalao or what it was that had to come in at the hospital and remove whatever it was, and with a matter of a few words. You know, it's incredible the power of the word. That's why prayer is so important, and when we do stuff, and anytime you pray, we're never not heard, okay? But there's ways, there's lots to talk about el espíritu intranquilo, there's lots of talks about la anima sola, there's lots to talk about los muertos. Um, so, some of the stories I've heard, some people say la anima sola es la llorona. That's one of the personas that they give her. Some people say she is a part of el igual. Some people say that, or el chu también, which is also a part of el igual también. But he lives outside, where el igual is by the door. But they're one and the same, okay? El chu is closer to our plane. He walks around with a cigar and a drink, an alcohol, you know, like a bottle of vodka or whatever you want, aguardiente, because that keeps him close to our way of thinking. That's how he levels up, because he's so smart and he's so advanced. You know what I mean? In order to be like us, he has to have that drink so that he can get back down to where we are. Um, so, y hay muchos diferentes Echu. There's a lot of different parts of him. Hay un Echu that's in charge of the cemetery after midnight. There's some that are in charge of churches. There's some that are in charge of family and children. There's some that are in charge of issues about love. There's one that's in charge of women that have gone on a bad path. I mean, there's many different parts to him. So on my website, I had put, oh, not my website, my Facebook, I had put, we're never alone. We're never just, the same way that we go about our business, that's the same way that they are. So it's not like we stop and they're just living their life. They're just continuing what they have to do. You know what I mean? Right around us. Like they could be walking right by me right now. They could be breakdancing and I wouldn't even know it. You know what I mean? So they're not meant to watch us. You know what I mean? I don't think they care. They'll stop every now and then, just like we stop every now and then when we feel something, and so do they. Same thing. They're two different worlds and different dimensions, if that makes any sense. So anyways, back to what I was saying. Okay, some people say que la anima sola is, back in the day there was women that were given the job of giving water to the men that were crucified. Okay, so there was one in particular named Celestina. I can't pronounce the last name, but it starts with an A. She was supposed to give water to the two thieves that were beside Jesus. She denied giving water to one because there was one that was sorry, there was one that wasn't sorry. Well, the one that wasn't sorry, she denied giving him water, and you don't have that choice, you don't have that option, you know what I mean? So because of that, she was condemned to the flames of purgatory, which is where, you know, souls go when there's a little battle for them, when they weren't all good or all bad. They're in purgatory. We pray for them, and that's how they make it to heaven or to eternal life, you know, whatever your description is. Some people, there's so many stories for her, but nonetheless, she's very real. And when you're able to get her to get to somebody, you don't work her like you would work un muerto. They're two total different. It's different. Okay, so for those of you that are playing with fire, la anima sola se trabaja con el espiritismo. That's a spiritual, because you're going to have to call on your spirit team. You're going to have to call on your ancestors. You're going to have to call on the spirits of light. And you have to negotiate. You talk with her gently. You don't fear her, and you speak with her. You respect her. You know what I mean? You're supposed to kind of soften her demeanor and try to, okay, well, what is it that you need? that con el muerto se manda, el muerto se le manda. It's totally different type of approach. Okay, I got a message. Okay, so anyways, what else was I gonna say? Some people say that working with La Anima Sola, she eventually comes to charge you and she will take one of your kids. Now, I don't know if that's true. I have one son and I don't know how true that is. These are just things that I have read in the past, that I've been told in the past. But just like, as much as some of you may disagree, the devil, as you guys call him, can be called on for good and for evil. Remember, he was once an angel. Uh, just like Anima Sola, you can also call on her for good as well. También con un muerto también. Eventually, un muerto can become your guide, believe it or not. If we're able to kind of, what's the word? If we're able to divert that attention and divert their main reason for, coming to a person or being sent to a person, sometimes we can pacify and we can get them to, instead of being bad for them, like to be good, to become somebody. All they need to know is that they're still needed, that they have that need for them, okay? So if we can change the need for harm to good, then we can do that. Another place where you see a lot of people, or myself included, whenever you see like those places where people have passed and they put candles and whatnot, ahí está el espíritu del muerto. That's where they are, because they always come back to the point where they lost their physical body. That's why a lot of people say not to cremate, because when you cremate and you're kept somewhere or you're scattered, before you can reincarnate, you have to find yourself. So, you know what I mean? So wherever you go, I should speak for myself. I've gone to those places where you see like a bike or a bunch of flowers or whatever, porque ahí quedan. No matter how you look at it, that is where they always go back to the scene of the crime. We always go back to where we lost our life. That's where you can go. You light something and then you make a deal with them. Very simple. Very simple. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Very simple, but no, it's the most complicated thing I've ever had to do. It's the most complicated thing I've ever looked into. My phone rang. I'm sorry. Okay. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys. That's why whenever you pass by one of those places, those memorials, always do the sign of the cross, offer them peace. You know, there's a level of respect you always have to have, because we're never alone. We're never alone. And before you get involved with La Anima Sola, just know what you're doing, because to get her to disconnect from a person, when you manage to get her to attach to somebody, it's intense. It's intense. It's you have to be strong-minded. You have to be religious. You have to be somebody who doesn't even look down in her presence, because if you look down, she sees that as a sign of weakness, and that's it. You lost. Okay, but you don't come at her the way you come at un muerto. It's different. It's totally different. This spirit deserves a lot of respect. This spirit deserves, it's almost like a healthy fear. You know what I mean? So that's all I got.